To everyone. Hi, my name is David Hernandez, Director of Community Services and Parent Resource Centers for Madera Unified. Welcome. This evening's seminar is dedicated to providing you information concerning credit repair. Repair the past, prepare for the future. Very important. The district is very much interested in the whole child, the whole family, and we know how important and critical it is for families to be able to enjoy at some time in their life that wonderful dream of home ownership and taking ownership and possessions of different items that will simplify their life. And we know that credit is very critical and important. And we know if you have bad credit, sometimes it's much more difficult to acquire what you want and much more expensive. When you have good credit, it's very easy to acquire, and you probably have uh, much less expensive cost, if not lower interest rates. So that's been the experience, and we want to bring some awareness around this subject matter. So thank you so much for joining us. This is this particular webinar is going to be conducted in English. We do have the Spanish version that will be provided for the Spanish-speaking community on Thursday, May 13th. So for those of you who are speak Spanish and would like to engage fully, I would suggest that you join us on Thursday, May 13th at 6 p.m. Por favor, si están aquí y hablan nada más el español, por favor, tomen en cuenta de que este seminario se va a dar a cabo el día jueves, el 13 de mayo a las 6 de la tarde. Esta presentación, webinar, se va a hacer en inglés. So this webinar is actually one of the series of 5 information-packed topics related to financial literacy. So, so far we've introduced budgeting, mortgage loans, real estate, and today you receive the 4th seminar, credit repair. The last seminar, which is next week, is on the benefits of insurance, and that will take place on May 18th. So this evening we are joined by Ms. Ali Rubalcaba, President of Recovery Credit Repair. We thank you so much for joining us and for addressing the importance of maintaining good credit, which impacts most, if not all, aspects of financial transactions. If you, audience, have any questions concerning information being shared through the webinar, please use the Q&A question and answer feature on the bottom of your screen. Your facilitator will take time at the end of the presentation to address some or all questions as time permits. This webinar is being recorded. So this webinar is also available live on Facebook. The recording of this webinar will be available via Madera Unified School District website within 48 hours. Thank you again for joining us. We want you to enjoy this webinar, take in all the information, share it with your family, friends, neighbors. And at this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Ali Rubalcaba. Thank you, Ali, for joining us.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for having me this evening. I'm really excited to share some things about credit with you and things that maybe some of you know, things that some of you don't know. And as David said, credit nowadays is very, very important. It can even stop you from getting a promotion at a job, and it can also stop you from becoming employed. So just things that people don't consider. So let me go ahead and share my screen so we can get this started. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Okay, so as David said, my name is Ali. My name's Aldiva, but I go by Ali for short. I am the president of Recovery Credit Repair. We've been in business 6 years, and we have a location in Fresno, Visalia, and Delano. So just for those of you that are curious about us. So welcome to our credit seminar today. Oops, there we go. So first thing I want to discuss is things that affect your personal credit and things that many of you don't realize. So all of us have 100% control over our existing good credit, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. We also have control over how high our credit scores can be. Many of us think that I have collections, so my scores are low. They do weigh down your scores, but there's other factors that go into that. And are you aware that the more of your credit cards that you use, the more you lose in points? We're going to go over that as well. We know that probably goes against what you've heard in the past, but you're going to see why. So I have to keep moving this mouse around. Okay. So you have 100% control over your credit score. Many of us think that the more I use my credit cards, the better it is for my credit. But it's actually whenever we use 50% to 100% of our credit limit on any credit card, it actually can drop our scores 80 to 150 points in 1 month. So think of credit as a teeter-totter, okay? The more I use, the more I lose in points. The less I use, the more I gain in points. So you have to think of that teeter-totter whenever you're considering making a purchase. Your goal is to use 30% or less of your revolving accounts. Now, if you're someone who pays off your credit cards every month, leaving a $5 or $10 balance will actually help you more than a $0 balance. So what is revolving debt? Revolving debt are credit cards. Credit cards are considered revolving because we can spend them, we could pay them. We could spend them, we could pay them. So they're constantly revolving, okay? With revolving debt, you can borrow against an established credit limit. As long as you haven't hit your limit, you can keep on borrowing. They do require a monthly payment. If you pay the balance in full each month, no interest will be charged. Whenever you pay less than the full balance, you'll be charged interest. Interest rates on credit cards can be high. The national average is between 16 to 36%. Plus, interest on credit cards compounds. So the longer you wait to pay off the balance, the more you owe in interest. Now, many of you don't look at your credit card statements. If you look at your credit card statements, there's a box, and the box says, if you just make minimum payment on this debt, it's going to take you 30 years to pay off this card. If you pay this much amount, this much a month, it'll take you 3 years to pay off this card. So really start looking at those boxes that come on the front page of your statement, because those are pretty impactful. Some of you aren't even applying a penny a month to your minimum monthly payment on your credit cards, and you don't realize it. So start looking for those things. Credit cards are unsecured, meaning they're not backed by an asset. A home equity line of credit is also revolving debt, but it is secured by your home, which means the lender can foreclose on your home if you stop making payments. Installment debt. So installment debts have termination dates. For example, you purchase a vehicle. At the end of 5, 6, or 7 years, your car's paid off. You purchase a home. At the end of 30 years, your home's paid off. If you get a personal line of credit, at the end of whatever term it is, it's paid off. So installment is a fixed amount in one lump sum. Unlike a credit card, you can't keep borrowing it and pay off your balance. Installment loans have predetermined end dates, so you know when you'll be done with the loan. Mortgages, auto loans, student loans, and personal loans are all examples of installment debt. Installment debt can also be secured, like auto loans and mortgages, and unsecured, like personal loans. Interest rates on secured loans are typically lower than the ones on unsecured loans. So I wanted to show you this pie here. I want you to see what is 65% of the pie. Okay. This is what factors into a FICO credit score. So only 15% is the length of history that you have. 10% is new credit. 10% are other factors such as inquiries, different types of credit. But the biggest piece of the pie is your payment history and how much you owe. So that piece of the pie is equivalent to 65% of your credit score. Many of you don't realize that, but like I said, the more you use on your revolving credit, the more you lose on points. And that's because 35% is your payment history, and also 30% is how much you owe. So payment history is 35% of your score. This includes if you pay on time or not. This includes different types of credit cards like Chase, American Express, retail accounts like Target. We recommend you don't get too many retail accounts because so with retail accounts, if I get a Target card, I can only shop at Target. If I get a Kohl's card, I can only shop at Kohl's. But if I get a Visa, I can go anywhere. If I get a MasterCard, I can go anywhere. So that's why we recommend not getting too many retail accounts because you're limited. One thing taken into consideration are loans, mortgages, and other borrowed monies. And lastly, always set your accounts to fully auto pay each month because that will prevent you from getting a 30-day late on any of your accounts. Amounts owed or balances are 30% of your score. This includes all end of the month outstanding balances from credit cards, loans, and mortgages. Oops, I can't see my screen, forgive me. Credit history is 15% of your score. This includes the oldest, newest, and average age of accounts. Even though the age and history of the account is only 15% of your score, an aged account helps your credit scores more than a new account in the beginning. The longer you have an account open, the stronger your credit profile looks. Types of credit in use is only 10% of your score. That basically means the diversity of credit cards, mortgages, retail accounts. Many people believe that having a lot of different types of credit can help your scores more. However, it's only a 10% factor in your score. Inquiries. Inquiries are about a 10% of your credit score as well. Your newest inquiries, applying for new credit cards. When you go to a retail store and apply for a card, okay, all of us like to go shopping, right? And every now and then they'll say, hey, you want to save 10% on your purchase? Apply for a card now. And you're like, sure, run my credit. Okay, so those inquiries right there, they can cost you from 3 to 7 points per inquiry. Now, when you go car shopping, and I have personally seen people with like 50 inquiries from car shopping, but that's okay because you have 14 days to shop. Regardless of how many times your credit is ran, it's considered one inquiry within those 14 days. A car loan application does affect your score approximately 14 to 20 points. When applying for a home loan, you have about 30 days to go rate shopping. Regardless of how many times your credit is ran within those 30 days, it's counted as one inquiry. A mortgage loan application can affect you approximately 30 points. Of course, that's depending on which algorithm it's pulling from, because when you pull a Fico 2, 4, and 5, it doesn't affect you that much. So it just really depends. When shopping for utilities, cell phone, insurance, they tend to tell you, oh, don't worry, these are soft pulls. It won't affect your credit. Let me tell you. I see the inquiries every day. They do hard pulls. They just tell you that they're soft pulls to get you to release your Social Security information so that they can see if you qualify for what they're offering you. Other things that affect your credit, a new collection will drop your scores approximately 50 points in 1 month. Closing a credit card you're no longer using will affect your scores approximately 50 points in 1 month. Too many inquiries will drop your scores, and having more than 6 inquiries per year on your credit report makes you a high risk to lenders and can cause your applications to be denied, even with a great credit score. I have seen people with 800, 850 credit scores get denied for credit just because they have too many inquiries. So how to interpret a credit report and the differences between a mortgage credit report. So many people don't realize that there's over 60 different FICO score algorithms out there. And the creditors choose which scores they're going to be accessing in order to approve or deny your credit applications. So many of us are stuck on our apps, right? Our app says, this is my score. But what you need to realize is that this is my score according to whom is pulling it, because it all depends on which algorithm they're looking at. So oftentimes when I go make a purchase, people will ask me, so Allie, where do you think your credit score is? And I'll be honest with them. I'll tell them, I don't know what algorithm you're pulling. Let me know which FICO you're pulling from, and I'll let you know where I stand. And they look at me because they're not used to people responding that way, but it's the truth. So once we learn or we realize that our score is according to whom is pulling it, we stop getting defensive over our score because it just depends on the need and what we're applying for and what they're using to check our credit. So how do creditors report your credit? So your creditors will pay to report. Some will pay to report to all three bureaus. Some will pay to report to two, and some will pay to only report to one. That's why we have three different FICO scores. And that's why there's three different bureaus. If your creditors would pay to report to all three bureaus the exact same way, we would have the same score between three bureaus. Oops. Did I miss the screen? Okay, so why do the credit scores vary between bureaus? I just answered that one. Most common reports you'll be dealing with. So most retailers nowadays are pulling a FICO 8. Whenever you're trying to apply for a home loan, they're pulling a FICO 2, 4, and 5. And Credit Karma is based on a Vantage score. It's not even a FICO score. So we all know that lovely logo, and probably everyone watching this has this app on their cell phone. And so Credit Karma is based on a Vantage score. So what is a Vantage score? Vantage scores are usually based off of automobile purchasing. If you've always purchased vehicles, paid them on time, paid them off, traded them in, you can have an amazing Vantage score. And then when they pull your FICO score, it's completely different. One thing about Credit Karma that I want all of you to realize is your creditors pay to report. Some pay to report once a month. Some pay to report once every 90 days. Credit Karma will update you every 7 days. So how accurate is that? And even if you look at your app, it'll tell you right there, this is not a FICO score. So you need to start paying attention to that and not thinking that Credit Karma is gold, because Credit Karma is a great tool to see, do I have a new collection, a new inquiry, anything different happening to my credit report, but it's not a FICO score. So just keep that in mind. So what does a Vantage score really mean? It's based, like I said, it's based on previous car buying history. And so you can actually have up to a 900 Vantage score, but FICO scores only go up to 850. If you've ever had repos, late payments, charge-off on vehicles, you can actually have a very low Vantage score as well. Mortgage loans, why are the client scores lower when purchasing a home? So mortgage loans are based on different FICO score models. On TransUnion, they're pulling a FICO Classic 4. Experian, they're pulling a Fair Isaac version 2. And Equifax, they're pulling the FICO Classic version 5. So as you can see, neither of them are pulling a FICO 8 or a Vantage score. And that's why there's differences. So what does that mean? Credit Karma, they're pulling a Vantage score, okay? So usually you want to deduct about 45 points from your Credit Karma, and that's about where you're going to be for your mortgage loan. So if you need down payment assistance, where they require a 660 score, both of your Credit Karmas should be at a 715 or higher so that your mortgage loan officer can pull a 660. Retail accounts are FICO 8. So on average, they're about 30 points higher than your mortgage loan. So again, if you need down payment assistance that requires a 660, you would need 2 out of 3 scores to be a 690 or higher so that your mortgage loan officer can pull a 660. We know that your score needs to be between a 580 to a 640 for an FHA loan, 620 or higher for conventional, but nowadays they're actually requiring a 680 or higher for conventional loans. So here's 3 scores for you to look at. Whenever you apply for a mortgage, your lowest score gets ignored, your highest score gets ignored, and whatever your middle score is, that's what's going to determine an approval or a denial for you to be able to buy your home. Mortgage credit reports are tri-merged. So here's an example of a mortgage report. You'll see the creditor, you'll see that it's reporting to Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. You're going to see this here as a collection. Their date last active shows right here as well. Here's a Don Roberto's jewelry account. Has all these late payments, but it just gives you one date that's late. It's reporting to all 3 bureaus. So this is just an example of what a tri-merged report looks like. So what does it mean? It means that a tri-merged report is just that. It gives you all 3 bureaus into one report while still giving you 3 individual scores. It's a great concept and it's perfect for buying a home. However, there can be several errors between the 3 credit bureaus that a tri-merged report won't show you. So when the report's not merged, you can see the errors in the report. So here's the Don Roberto's Jewelers account. You can see that here it's reporting date opened September 7, September 1st, September 1st, date last active July 31st of 14, July 1st, and then November 1st of 12. Here's all the late payments. So if you look here in October, it's showing that the client was current. November, it's reporting that Experian was current, but Equifax is now 2 payments past due. December, Experian's reporting that the client was 1 month past due, but Equifax is reporting they were 3 months past due. So this here is just giving you an idea as to some errors that are on reports. Also, date of last payment, TransUnion and Experian are both reporting October 4th of 12, but Equifax is reporting November 1st. So just by looking at this alone, you can already see some errors. Monthly payment here showing $0, $0, and $70. So all these little factors, you really can't decipher them on a tri-merged report. So tri-merged, here's that same Don Roberto's account. Unmerged, you see it here. So you can clearly see the differences between 2 reports. Just each one has their purpose. One is used for buying a home and the other one is used in other scenarios. So statutes of limitations, I love statutes of limitations. Many of you don't know this, but when it comes to your collections, any debt that's older than today's date, 2017 and older, is no longer legally collectible in the state of California. So in California, we have 4 years from the date we last make a payment for a creditor to take us to court, okay? So sometimes your debt collector might be calling you and saying, hey, Maria, if you just give me $5, I promise I won't call you till next month. And you're like, oh, fine, take my $5, stop calling me, right? Well, that one $5 payment just gave them 4 years to take you to court if you default on any future payments. So you really, really, really have to be careful with that. And it's really important to know when you last made a payment to a debt collector, so that, or even to an original creditor, because it goes from the date you last made a payment, either to the original creditor or the debt collector. So be very careful, be very knowledgeable as to when you last made a payment, pay attention, because that could save you a lot of money. One thing I do want you to be aware of is California, Nevada, Texas, we're all 4-year states. Oregon and Washington, they're 6-year states. Those of you thinking about leaving California, don't go to Kentucky. They have 15 years to collect debt on you, and Wyoming's 10. So know your statutes of limitations between states. So here is I believe it's a Fingerhut account. I can't see because there's something in my way, but here's an account. You see here that in June, they're reporting that the client was current. July of 2014, Experian's reporting that they were one payment behind, but Equifax is reporting that they were current. Here, date of last payment is saying June 1st of 14, which we can confirm here, but here it's reporting August 10th of 14, okay? It is a Fingerhut account. Here, this is a tri-merged report. It's showing date last active of August of 14, which coincides with these two right here. It's saying that they were late July, August, September, which coincides with this right here. Now here's a kicker. Fingerhut now sells this debt to a debt collector, and look what happens. Now this debt collector purchased the account December of 14, saying that date last active is April of 16. You go and pay this, and it's already too old to be paid. So it's really important to know when you last physically made a payment on an account. These here are inquiries. I apologize, these are from 2017. I'm in the middle of doing taxes right now as well, so I didn't have time to update these, but inquiries stay on your credit report for 2 years. So if I run my credit today, it's going to affect my scores until June 1st of 2022, but it'll stay on my credit report until June 1st of 2023. So it affects your scores for 1 year, but stays on your report for 2. This here is public record, so bankruptcy. So bankruptcies can stay on your credit report up to 10 years. And keep in mind that after 2 years of filing, of having a Chapter 7 discharged, you can buy a home, okay? So don't think you have to wait 10 years, because you don't. 2 years after your discharge date, you can buy a home. And also, as of January 1st of 18, judgments and tax liens are no longer being reported on credit reports. Only bankruptcies are being reported. So we do run public record searches, and we find judgments on clients' credit reports, because we need to know. That way, if you're trying to buy a home, your title company is going to run what's called an SI report, which means statement of information. They're going to find these judgments, and they're going to make you deal with them before you can close escrow. So if it's not in your budget, you know, we could set up a settlement plan, or anyone that you work with can set up a settlement plan and work with you regarding those judgments, so that you don't have a surprise when you try to purchase a home. So ITINs, I know we're doing this in English, so I don't know if anyone in English here has an ITIN number, but an ITIN number is a tax processing number that's issued by the IRS for individuals that are not eligible for a Social Security number. And we also do ITIN credit repair. We actually specialize in that, and we love working with our ITIN clients. So what happens when you make a late payment? So whenever you pay your revolving account, which is a credit card late, it will drop your scores about 50 points in 1 month. When you pay an auto loan late, it will drop your scores 80 to 120 points in 1 month. And when you pay your mortgage loan late, which could be your house payment, it can drop your scores up to 200 points in 1 month. So it's really important to make at least the minimum payment on time every month. If you have no credit and you want to get started, number one is get a secured credit card. Go to your local credit union. There's some apps online that you can get, but get yourself a secured credit card. If you don't know what a secured credit card is, that's where you go in and you deposit your own money, your own funds. It goes into a separate savings account that you don't touch, but it gives you an actual credit card, okay? Once you have that credit card for 6 months to a year, as long as you only use 30% of your credit limit, make your payments on time every month, don't max out your card, very responsible with the card. 6 months to a year, you can go back and ask the bank to convert your secured card to an unsecured card. They'll give you back your security deposit, and now you have a real credit card that you can get credit line increases with. That's the best way to start establishing credit. Next one is if you have a family, a friend member, a friend, boyfriend, significant other, anyone that has excellent credit, is never late on their credit cards, doesn't max out their cards, is very responsible, you can ask them to add you on as an authorized user on their card. When the card comes in the mail, shred it. You don't need access to the card, but all of their positive payment history and utilization will reflect on your credit report, and it's also going to help boost up your scores as well. There are good credit cards. Sorry, I completely lost my train of thought. The main thing is you want to have those hard conversations with anyone that you decide to go on as an authorized user. Okay. Don't take for granted that you're going on to someone else's card. If they forget that you're on there and they decide to max out their card, they could drop your scores as well as yours. So be very, very careful with who you allow to add you on as an authorized user to protect yourself, especially if your goal is to buy a home. You want to keep that utilization down. There's no late payments, and that's going to help you. So things to watch out for: jewelry stores is one, and also furniture stores. One thing about jewelry stores I personally don't care for too much is if I go into a store and I want to buy $1,000 necklace, they're going to tell me, congratulations, you're approved. Your credit limit is $1,000. So what just happened? I have a new account that's maxed out. So that's a double whammy. Okay. But as I pay down that account, my scores will start to go up. Furniture stores, they tend to do the same thing. Some do tell you you've been approved for $7,000, so you know to stay within 30%. But some of them will make your credit limit your purchase price. So just keep that in mind, because you don't want to do anything that's going to drop your scores. Your goal is to start establishing credit to increase your scores. And then we do have 4 locations. So we have 2 in Fresno and 1 in Visalia and 1 in Delano. So if anyone has any questions for me that they would like to ask, now that you know the differences between 2 credit reports and how they affect our industry, we look forward to helping you, and please reach out not only to me, but anyone else that might, be close to you that you would like to have help you out with your credit. I have a question here from Josie. What is the difference from authorized user to co-borrower? Excellent question, Josie. So a co-borrower means you are also equally responsible for the account. So anything that's joint, that's co-borrower, means you co-signed on a purchase. So let's say I co-signed for Joe, and Joe stops making the payments on the account. I am now equally financially responsible for that account because I co-signed on the account for Joe. Now, if Joe is an authorized user on my credit and life happens to me and I stop paying my account, Joe has zero financial obligation to my account because he's only an authorized user, so he's not responsible for anything. Okay, I have another one. Clarice, how long after a foreclosure can you purchase another home? Perfect question, Clarice. It's about 5 years. 5 years after a foreclosure, you can buy a home. I do believe that sometimes there might be some special circumstances. I'm not a loan officer, so I would definitely reach out to your local loan officer and ask that question, but I have been told it is 5 years. Okay, I have another one from Saba. If I share the same account with my husband, do I have to open a new account in order to get a credit card? So I'm assuming you mean if you share the same bank account with your husband. So you would need to establish an open line of revolving credit that's not linked to your bank account, because a bank account is not the same as a credit card. And if I interpreted that wrong, please correct me and I'll re-answer the question. Okay, I have an anonymous attendee. How long after bankruptcy can you purchase a home? So 2 years after Chapter 7. And if you're currently in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, as long as you're making your payments on time and your probate office, not probate, but I can't think of the name now, but if the officer that's taking care of your bankruptcy allows you to, you can actually purchase a home while still in a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. But it all depends if the court allows you to, and as long as you're making your payments on time in that Chapter 13. And I'm not seeing any more questions come through. If you guys have any questions at all, please feel free to ask. I am more than happy to answer them.
We do have a couple questions on the chat, not the Q&A. So
okay.
One of them is it true that it is ideal to have 5 or more credit cards open?
Let me look at the chat because your internet kind of cut in and out. Let's see here. Is it true it's ideal to have 5 or more credit cards open? You know, Rosa, that's a very good question. You do not need to have 5 or more credit cards open. 1 card works just as well. It does help establish your credit. We normally like to see 2 to 3 cards, just, you know, to have more history, but starting off with 1 and then 6 months later getting another one is just fine. The whole point is that you maintain your credit, your utilization, and that'll help your scores go up. Okay, Alex, how many can a friend be, or how many authorized users can be on a card? That's what I think I'm interpreting here. It all depends. I have a Discover card that allows me to have up to 5 authorized users. I have a Capital One card that allows me, I think it's 6. I haven't checked in a while, but some credit cards do limit how many authorized users you can have and others don't. And then I have Rissy. How long after a short sale can you buy a home? Another excellent question. Again, I'm not a loan officer, but I do believe the answer is 5 years. But I would also recommend that you reach out to a local loan officer out there in Madera that can definitely answer that. But I do believe it's 5 years. Let's see here. Okay, Clarice, can you add your minor child as an authorized user to help them establish their credit early? Of course you can. You definitely can. I actually encourage people to add their children on at, you know, the age of 16, 17, so that way by the time they're 18, they already have a credit score established in their name. And then Josie, what does soft check mean? Soft check means that someone is checking your credit but they're not doing a hard pull. So that means that no inquiry will result from that check. But be careful, because some people will tell you that it's only a soft pull just to allow you to feel comfortable in giving them your social security number. And they don't, and it's not always honest. So sometimes I do see those soft pulls turn into hard pulls on a credit report.
Okay,
Your internet's cutting in and out.
we have a couple questions on Facebook Live.
Okay.
If Fingerhut is a good source to help increase credit score when making payments on time?
Yes, so Fingerhut is a revolving account. You're going to pay high interest and probably overpay for some items, but yes, definitely. It is a revolving account. So once you get your credit limit established, don't spend more than 30% of your credit limit.
Okay, and another question. What if I'm an authorized user on my dad's credit card, but he uses more than half of his credit limit, but pays his bills on time?
Okay, so there's a trick to that. Have your dad call and find out what day of the month do your creditors pay to report to the credit bureaus. So if he's someone who pays his bills on time and likes to use his card, and let's say that they pay to report on the 15th of the month, have him pay down the card to 30% by the 13th of the month, not charge on the card till the 16th. That way the 30% balance will report on the credit report, and then he could use it again for a month. So that's just like a little loophole.
Thank you. That was good information. And that was all the questions on Facebook.
I'm seeing another one here from Rosa. If I check my credit on Credit Karma often, will that hurt my credit? Not at all, Rosa. Credit Karma does not do any inquiries at all. So if you want to check it every 7 days, check it every 7 days. You're perfectly fine. Anyone else have any questions? One more. Okay, Josie, lay it on me. She's probably typing.
Actually, while she types, you did mention that when you're shopping for a mortgage loan, you can apply at different places to find the best rate, right? And it'll only count once within a period of time?
Within a 30-day period, yes.
Okay. Is that the same when refinancing?
Same thing with refinancing, yes. Now, one thing, since you mentioned that, when you're finally approved to buy a home, okay, your mortgage loan officer did everything, your credit's approved, your debt to income ratio is approved, like they give you the golden paper that says you're approved and you qualify for this. And then you go out and you find the ideal home and you open escrow. Do not touch your credit. No inquiries, no new purchases, no new car, no engagement ring, no new wedding ring, no nothing until the realtor shows up at your home and physically hands you the key. Okay. When the realtor hands you the key, that means the loan's been funded, everything's ready to go, the house is officially yours. If you want a new car at that time, guess what? Your house will not report on your credit report for 30 days. Go buy your car. Your credit will still be high because you won't get that new debt on your credit report. But while you're pre-approved and you're shopping until you get keys in your home, in your hands, don't make any changes without talking to your mortgage loan officer, because that can actually cost you your home. And in today's market, you don't want to do that to yourselves. Okay, Josie, how accurate is the FICO from Wells Fargo? So it is accurate. It's an accurate score, except it's according to their algorithm. So you can't go to your mortgage loan officer and say, well, my Wells Fargo says my score is this. Your score is this according to whom, which is Wells Fargo. When you're buying a home, they're pulling a FICO 2, 4, and 5. It's a completely different algorithm. So always remember that. This is my score according to whom is pulling it. And I have Delilah. Hi, I'm having trouble with a broken lease. Is there anything I can do to remove this? So Delilah, number one, how old is the broken lease? Number two, did it result in an eviction, which then becomes a public record? So that's a loaded question for a short time on Zooms, but you can always reach out to us after this, and we could talk about that more in detail. Let's see, I think I have another one. If you buy a car, is that helping your credit? So again, a car is an installment loan. So it does help your credit, but if your goal is to buy a house, I always advise buy your house first, then buy your car. Because let's say that you have a $500 car payment and you want to buy a $400,000 home. Well, maybe now your debt to income ratio is affected and you can only buy a $300,000 home because you have that $500 car payment. But if you buy your house first, then that car payment won't get in the way of you buying your home. So just something to think about. Clarice, if your home has been modified, would you owe any money to the government, or do they put a lien on your home? That all depends on the type of modification that you get, but typically once your loan's modified, they just put your balance at the end of the loan, and it's not necessarily a lien. It's just if you ever were to refinance or sell your home, then all that debt gets paid off from the proceeds of your home sale. So you're fine, Clarice. Delilah, it's an eviction from it's from 2018 and no eviction. Yeah, we would have to take a look at all the documents if you signed out the move out notice, what exactly happened and transpired. But like I said, Delilah, that's kind of a question that's kind of hard to answer over Zoom because I need to see all the facts. So hope you understand. I'm not trying to evade the question. I just want to make sure that you know it's a loaded question on a forum like this.
I have one last on Facebook.
Okay.
Is Chime a secure card and a good card to get to establish credit?
You know, I have been doing a lot of research on Chime, and they claim to report to all 3 bureaus. I haven't seen one on a client's report yet. I know that they're fairly kind of new to the game, but they seem to have a really good program from what I'm reading. But until I actually see one on someone's report, then I'll be able to answer that better. But it is a secured card. They claim that they're going to report to all 3 bureaus. So as long as they do what they say they're going to do, go for it. Just don't spend more than 30% of your credit limit. And for those of you that don't know what that looks like, if you get a $300 card, don't spend more than $90 a month. If you get a $500 card, don't spend more than $150 a month. A $1,000 card, don't spend more than $300 a month. So you just take your limit times 0.30, and that's how much you could spend.
Well, Ellie, we're getting close to the end, and this has really been some magnificent information for our audience. As you can tell by the level of questions, it's a subject that I don't believe we get enough time to dive into. And as you're noticing, there's so many different questions and issues that individuals have been struggling with, but it's just so kind of you to give up of your time, volunteer your time on behalf of the audience, which is all families that are made up of children that attend our Madera Unified School District. And it's our pleasure to be able to provide that awareness to our community and know that there is help out there.
There
And
is.
there's individuals that are looking out in your best interest and not, and be careful of falling prey to some of the other companies. So, you know, you have to be very careful. And our role is to educate. We're educators, we
Yes.
want to educate. So I'm going to bring this to a close. I know that for the individuals who want more information, I know that they can reach out to organizations, individuals like yourselves that are available to provide them with the information and support to assist them with that credit recovery process. But I know that you're going to do this presentation in Spanish on Thursday. So
Yes.
you have bilingual folks out there that still want additional information. They're welcome to come back and join us this coming Thursday on May 18th. And we can, not, I'm sorry, this Thursday. And you can join in and ask additional questions as well.
I
So,
do have two questions. Can I answer them really quickly?
sure.
So Brenda's asking, how do you get credit if you don't have a social security number? If you have an I-10, Brenda, Self-Help Credit Union in Fresno, they do secured cards for I-10, and so does Bank of America. And then Rosa asked, what would be a good credit score to purchase a home? If you have money down, 640 or higher. If you need down payment assistance, 660 or higher. So I just wanted to knock those two out really quickly.
Good job. All righty. Thank you so much for everyone who attended. We thank you and look forward to seeing you at our next seminar. Have a good
Bye,
night.
guys. Thank you. Good night.
David, if they wanted to join in on Thursday, they can just use the same link that they used today.
Thank you, Cindy. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.